Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to Functional Medicine with me, Dr. Howard Robbins. Um, every week, we try to do new shows, but this is my big lecture season. And as I call it, I get the fall and the spring, and I lecture at various medical meetings. Apparently, I'm sought after to some degree. A few weeks ago, I was at the American Academy of Stem Cell Physicians in Miami, and I was a keynote speaker apparently, and they even gave me an award for the work that I've done. It kind of interesting and embarrassing almost, because I never feel worthy of these things. I guess I am. And then I was a keynote speaker last week at Frontiers in Ozone down in Charleston, South Carolina. And and next week I'll be away speaking again in Atlanta, and then I'm done with speaking for this portion of the season. Then I go to train doctors out in California again in February, and then I'm going to be speaking at Annie Appleseed once again. At the end, the Annie Appleseed, we may do a whole show on it, may have some of their people on it. It's an alternative cancer therapy seminar that's put on in I think generally West Palm Beach in the end of February. So I'm going to be on a panel discussion there. Then I have hopefully I know I have American Academy of Stem Cell Physician meeting again in March, and then I have so many things. But this is what I do. I don't believe in retirement, so this is what I do. In any case, this show, very important show, is the last of our series on anti-aging, reversing the aging process. And yes, you can reverse it, and we're going to be talking all about that today, and how you go about doing it. So in any case, that's what this show is focusing on, and we're going to be reviewing some of the things that can make a difference in doing such a thing. Those of you that are watching, you'll on YouTube, Functional Medicine with Dr. Robbins, who are going to see this show, will actually get to see a PowerPoint that I'm using for this. Otherwise, everybody's just going to hear it. And we're heard now in over 80 countries. And what makes this station so valuable is that all the shows are archived. And because they're archived, you can go to episode directory and go back. And the shows that we've done in the past are good shows. They're still current in terms of the information. So if you're listening and you have other medical problems, go backwards and see if you don't find something that'll move you ahead forwards. Also, this Saturday, I begin another podcast on WNEW FM radio, one of their HD channels here in the greater metropolitan New York area. So those of you who are listening from around here may want to start listening to the shows that I do there. So this is becoming, I guess, a big part of my latter life. Okay, and I obviously enjoy it. So first, let me thank my two sponsors for this show, PromoLife. PromoLife makes ozone products. They came out with something new. That's just, I think it's amazing. It's outstanding. It's an ozone water purifying maker, and it actually makes ozone water. So you can drink ozone water, use it for wound care. It's an amazing device. It only cost, I think they sell it for $200. It's absolutely wonderful. You can drink the water. It makes it in 3 minutes. This is amazing. You just pour in distilled water or purified water. You add a few drops of magnesium sulfate into, I think it's magnesium chloride or magnesium sulfate into it. Then electricity goes through from in the device. You see bubbles come up, and 3 minutes later, you have ozone water to drink, pour on a wound. You could use it for many different things. If you have a scalp condition of some kind, you can wet your head down that way and just let it dry, because it'll affect skin in a very positive way. Skin conditions, dry scalp, psoriasis. You could use it for, oh God, dandruff, all sorts of issues. That it's just a wonderful, wonderful device they came up with. Contact them at promolife.com or 888-742-3404. That's 888-742-3404. And this way you'll be able to tell them I sent you. They'll do something special for you. Maybe they'll give you free shipping, or they'll take a percentage off just because you heard it here on Dr. Howard's show. Then Doctor's Biome. Okay. My other sponsor, doctorsbiome.com. And it's spelled DOCTORSBIOME.com. You can buy it anywhere in the world. You will have to pay extra for shipping. It ships free here in the continental US, but you can buy it anywhere in the world. And if not only will you get 20% off, you don't know what it is yet, but I'll tell you, unless you've been listening to our shows, and you'll be hearing more about it later in this show. You could use the code radio20 and you'll get 20% off your first order. Then after that, in the future, you can go on auto ship and you'll get 10% off each future order with priority shipping, because it's being sold all over the world now. Nutramed in Europe, Nutramed in Europe sells it all throughout the UK and the EU. But otherwise, you can have it sent to whatever country. We're selling it already now in Singapore. So it's being sold Southeast Asia. You can get it in different countries. They'll ship it to you. They run out of it fast. They make it in small batches. As soon as it clears the safety testing, and Dr. Kamari, the food scientist who works with us, clears it, then you can have it shipped, and priority shipping goes to people who are on auto ship. It happens to be a very important probiotic beverage. So I'm not going to go into the details on it now, because that's going to be part of this presentation, once again, because it's so important. So, bottom of it all, we're going to talk now, trying to get this up, okay. So, the importance of and benefits of ozone therapy and symbiotics and anti-aging. But what we're going to be talking about, is in the aging process is, well, first of all, aging is driven by three premises. Their age-associated manifestation, pathogens and their effect on aging, stem cells and their effect on aging, the reduction of energy molecules, the ATPs and their effect on aging. The aging is accelerated by accentuating them or decreasing them, and that's basically how you can reverse it. All right. Aging research explores the decline in function of these organisms, and there's two types of aging, okay? There's the chronologic aging, which is your actual years from the time you were born till this moment in time. And then there's epigenetic aging. Epigenetic aging is actually it's a biological age. It's an estimate of how old you really are. Those of you that can see me, if you go to that YouTube channel, same name, Functional Medicine with Dr. Robbins, you get to see the show. You don't hear the commercials, but you get to see the show, and you can see I got a full head of hair. It has pepper, salt in it, but it's a lot of pepper still. I sleep 4.5 to 5, sometimes only 3.5, but usually 4.5 to 5.5 hours a night. Don't tell me you need 8 hours of sleep. That means you're sleeping a third of your life away. Many people need 8 hours of sleep so that they can function at their normal level. Not all of us. Not all of us. I've done a lot of things and do a lot of things that give me the energy that I need to go all day long. Now, if I want to lay back and put my head back and go to sleep, I can close my eyes and go to sleep. I can meditate, and that can put me out. And that's part of the things we're going to talk about. Things you can do to slow the aging process down and even reverse it. But what happens in our body is that you get the sleep you need, and I get all the sleep that I need because of all these other things we're going to talk about that I do and that I've done. Okay. And you're going to learn with aging and aging of our tissues. I mean, think about it. Epigenetic. What does that mean? Some people look like they're in their 80s when they're in their 50s. And some people look like they're in their 50s when they're in their 80s. And they have energy level of a 50-year-old. So that's epigenetic. So you can push your epigenetic age higher than you really are chronologically, or you can retard that aging and reverse it, so to speak, and be much younger than what your chronology says you are. And that's why I'd like to think it's 76 in March. I don't know when you're watching or listening to this show, but this is November of 2024. And though we do re-air shows that are constantly being listened to on this station. Whenever I go away to lecture, we put on encores on the important shows then. Well, bottom of it all is epigenetic age is this show may be listened to, and if you listen to it a year from now, you're probably going to see a similar person to you that you're seeing today and hearing today. Now, keep in mind that oxygen is the source of all energy. Okay? Oxygen makes energy. You take nutrients and oxygen, you put it into a cell, and your cells have what's called mitochondria, and they make the ATPs, the adenosine triphosphate energy molecules. And remember, a cell needs to make energy to do 3 things and 3 things only: stay alive, do its job, and make another cell when it's ready to pass on. And that is what healthy cells do. But if you don't make enough energy because you're not getting enough oxygen delivered to the cell, or not enough proper healthy nutrients to the cell, what's going to happen? Cell can only do 2 things: stay alive and make another one, hopefully. And when it stops making other ones, that's when organs and tissues start to, degenerate and break down, and aging, and technically aging, and then eventually death takes place because the organs aren't doing their job anymore. Now, ozone therapy takes that O2 and turns it into O3. And when ozone enters your body, it does many things. It destroys every virus, fungus, yeast, mold, bacteria, parasite, toxin, harmful free radical. It removes toxic metals from the body. This will help reduce the stress that's on your body, which lowers your epigenetic age. Now, if you're loaded with all these things, your epigenetic age is much higher, and therefore you're much older than your actual years of life. The key is to reduce stress in the body. And there's many ways that you can help reduce the stress that's in your body. Not only killing off all these organisms that cause stress to the body, but emotionally, okay? You have to learn how to let things go. Spiritually, you have to learn how to let things go. I'm going to give you some insights into that now. The key spiritually is to live your life as best you can. Listen, I wish I were perfect. I used to be perfect yesterday. Today, I'm not so perfect anymore. Okay. To live your life in a way where everything you do is loving, because everything that's loving is intelligent. If everything you do that is intelligent, then everything you do is loving. Love intelligence is what we want to try and achieve. Some doctors practice medicine, and some doctors practice healing. The difference between the two is who that person is that's practicing medicine, practicing the healing using medicine. And the key is to spiritually grow into a beneficent presence, I guess is what it's called. Meaning, by being in that person's presence, you're uplifted in every way. And there are people that apparently, over the course of centuries, that have had that uplifting, beneficent presence to be near them. Jesus, Moses, Mohammed, Buddha, just to name Mother Teresa, Gandhi. These are people that by being with them and being near them and hearing them or touching them or being touched by them, your life is uplifted. So that's how do you achieve that? That is a key thing. Part of it is you go on a spiritual trip, learning initially that you know absolutely nothing. Now, when you're able to admit that you know nothing, now you start your spiritual journey, because now you can open your mind and body and spirit to learn. And eventually, as you learn, you start to think of and act in a more spiritual way. Forgiveness, love, caring for other people becomes part of what your life is about. And that helps reduce stress, lower your epidemiologic age, and you can move ahead. We're going to go to our first commercial break. We'll be back again in just a couple of minutes. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
All right, terrific job. We are clear. Back into.
So everybody, we're going to our first commercial break. I stopped the share, but unfortunately, I have no way of shutting this down for the moment like I usually do. So I'm going to have to talk through the commercial break so that everybody that's listening to this on can hear it. I'm not going to give you any more information other than talking about what I've just said. I went on a spiritual journey with a man who was one of my mentors in life many years ago, who passed away, Dr. Ted Smith, one of the major losses. I've had key people in my life that have helped me move my life in various ways. My ninth grade English teacher, um, Mr. Lockhart, Dr. Ted Smith, Dr. Gary Knoll. These are people that shaped my life. Dr. Robert Atkins. These are people that helped me transform into what I'd like to think is a much better person than I really was initially. Justin Sterling from the Sterling Men's Weekend. These are people that had major influences on my life and how I live my life and how I treat people. So hopefully you all have that chance to meet people like that. Obviously, I believe God, if you want to call it the power of the universe, if you don't believe in God, God has moved me into doing what I do and being who I am. You have to get these key people, these key players in your life. And when you get these key players in your life, things move ahead.
All right, Dr. Robbins, we are coming back.
So we're going to be coming back from our commercial break now. So stay with me.
You are tuned in to Functional Medicine with Dr. Robbins. If you have a question or a comment about the show, please send an email to ozonedoctor@yahoo.com. Now, back to Functional Medicine with Dr. Robbins.
Hello, everybody. We're back again. And so I mentioned that how the mitochondria react and how that benefits us and can harm us in terms of aging. Ozone therapy has been major in lowering my epigenetic age. Why? Because it helps it helps in blood flow to the mitochondria. That's one of its major benefits. It helps in blood flow, and for this particular situation, direct IV ozone or 10-pass ozone, hyperbaric high dose with multipass, nicknamed 10-pass, are the two major and best ways to benefit from intravenous ozone therapy. If you listen to our show called Intravenous Ozone, Everything You Need to Know, it goes over all the different methods, why we use the ones we use. But these two methods, one is a blood method of ozone, one is the direct IV, where we push the gas directly in. And we've done this quite a few times. I mean, we've been doing intravenous ozone therapy for over 34 years. Well, at the end of this year, it'll be 34 years, and over 420,000 intravenous treatments, more than any one clinic in the world, and more than all the doctors in North and Central America put together, best that we can tell. No one has our clinical experience anywhere in the world. I'm obviously one of the major players then. So the key is that we get our cells to do their job. Now, stem cells are found in bone marrow, in fat tissue, adipose tissue, and in your mesenchymal stem cells in your gut. And it's stem cells that repair the unrepairable and fix the unfixable in our body. So first you need to get the cells to work, and every cell, stem cells or not, have mitochondria, so they need oxygen and they need nutrition. And nutrition plays an extremely important role here. You are what you eat. You've heard that before many, many times. You are what you eat. Well, do you eat organic food, or are you taking in non-organic food artificial colors, flavors, preservatives, pesticides, all sorts of herbicides, herbicides can be safe. Not all of them are, and high concentrations of any of these things aren't good. I do the best I can to avoid artificial colored flavors, preservatives, and all that kind of stuff. Most of my diet is a raw food diet, okay, with organic vegetables. I do eat steamed and sauteed vegetables, and I do eat some wild caught fish. I do eat eggs, organic eggs. You have to eat to stay alive. Keep in mind, you could probably live a la Gandhi without food, possibly for a year or more. I think Buddha did a fast like that as well. You can live without water for a few weeks, but you can only live without oxygen for a few minutes. Hold your breath. See how long you can hold your breath for before you pass out and start breathing again. Okay. Obviously, oxygen is the key ingredient here. Now, stem cells act in many ways on every organ and every system in your body. Keep in mind, skin is one of the major organs in your body. It's one of the largest organs in your body. It is an organ. It has cells. So you need, obviously, good nutrition. We've done shows on various supplements, most importantly, vitamin C to me, for many reasons. Listen to the show we've done on the shows we've done on vitamin C and its importance. But other antioxidants such as vitamin A, D, E, D3, very important in many ways. You need your B vitamins. Okay, these are things that you need in adequate amounts. They need to be bioabsorbable. That means they can come from your gut and get into your blood system. They need to be bioavailable. Okay, bioavailable. That means your cells can uptake them. And then bioutilizable, meaning your cells can use those nutrients to do something. And that's what goes on in our cells. That's why we need these vitamins and nutrients. Yes, there are many herbs and stuff that one can take. And when people go, well, wait a minute, isn't ozone therapy and oxidation therapy? Doesn't that leave harmful free radicals? No, actually the opposite. Ozone therapy, ozone actually acts as a harmful free radical scavenger, just like antioxidants, vitamin C and other antioxidants do. I call it an oxymoron because it does the opposite. Even though it's an oxidative process, it transforms harmful things into, either destroys what doesn't belong in your body, or it takes a harmful free radical, for example, carbon monoxide. CO plus O3 equals carbon dioxide, which you can breathe out, and leaves oxygen as the waste product in your blood. So it acts in the reverse. Now, natural stem cells, there's all sorts of problems in this country that I hope things are going to change, but who knows? Stem cell therapy is not new. Doctors will, excuse me, doctors will take stem cells, they'll harvest it from fat tissue. Absolutely legal, I believe, still in this country. Doctors can harvest them from your bone marrow, which is painful. Absolutely legal still in this country. And now, where they take it from the blood, from the umbilical blood, from newborn, from the placenta in newborn, when you have a newborn baby, the mother gives off the placenta, so everything is safe. You don't hurt the babies, but you take the blood from there and you can harvest very powerful stem cells from it. Has to be done very carefully. Unfortunately, the FDA is coming down on that. You can ask me why. I don't know. They decide anything that might be useful, beneficial, and healthy that isn't pharmaceutical, that you can't patent, shouldn't be permitted in this country. we're hoping this is going to change. We don't know. But there's research, and that's what, if you're looking at it, I'm showing everybody research showing how ozone injections intravenously and into joints, muscles, tendons, and ligaments. Listen to the show we did on prolo ozone therapy. When we inject ozone, either through the 10-pass method or through the direct IV method into your blood, your body is stimulated to make natural stem cells. Now, when we give the localized injections, like into your plantar fasciitis in your bottom of your foot and into other areas, knees, shoulders, whatever, people get injections for, if they get injections into their discs. Ozone therapy, that's called prolo ozone, sends out a bugle call, da-da-da-da-da, this is where we need you to come. And things happen that you just can't believe. We have seen patients who had bone on bone in a joint and grew completely new cartilage. Traditional doctors couldn't believe it, but seeing is believing. Okay. And so doctors that are doing prolo ozone therapy can help in muscle, tendon, ligament, and joint injuries. Now, I don't know if you're going to hear this. In fact, you're not going to hear this. So I'm just going to tell you. So here's a young lady, one of my patients, who had lost 90% of, almost 100% of her hair to alopecia. And in 5 months, her hair started to grow back. It started to grow back. After about 7 months, she had a full head of hair again. It's unfortunate that I can't play these videos that you can't hear, but people might have been able to see, okay? Basically because of the way this share has been set up on Zoom. I'll have to figure out how to do this. Obviously, people, please forgive me. I am the opposite of a techie. I know how to turn a computer on and off. Matt down at the station is brilliant. The people here at Voice America are brilliant. They know how to fix it all and make it all work. And I am the opposite of that. The next patient that I presented on at that medical meeting here, that you would see, she would show you how she couldn't lift her elbow, her arm up higher than her waist. And in the video that I have, she shows you how she can move her arm all the way around because her shoulder was fixed. Here, then I have my my patient Peter, who had a heart attack. Now, it wasn't coming to us for his heart, but he had a heart attack, and he tells you how the inferior wall of his heart was completely destroyed. He was told it'll never come back. That's it. And when your heart pumps, it pushes out blood, and it has to push out a lot of blood, obviously. And his ejection rate was down at only 50, was it 50, 40 something percent, 30 something percent, excuse me, which is really bad. At 15%, you need a heart transplant. So it was at 30 something percent, and within just 3 months, came back in. By the way, I just had my heart checked. Bottom wall of the heart is completely functioning again. It's back to normal again. Came back to life, and his ejection rate went up to 60 something, 62, 64%. They were blown away by it. This is absolutely amazing. What did this? Can only be one thing: stem cells, because ozone's in your body only about 10 minutes and it's gone. It's not there for long. Okay. And I've done an awful lot of ozone therapy. People that are seeing this have an idea on the slide that I'm showing as to how much. Now, one of the things that makes a difference is the human body is 70% water. Most people walk around in a dehydrated state. You need to be well hydrated. Okay? You need to be well hydrated. Okay? So because you need to be well hydrated, you have to drink at least 3 or 4 liters of water a day. I don't care. You got to go to the bathroom once every hour is normal. If it's under 45 minutes, well, back off a little bit. If it's over an hour and 15, you're in a dehydrated state. So you need to be well hydrated. Vitamin C, I have my patients take it 5 or 6 doses a day. I've never seen an oxidative stress reaction ever in my patients because they're dosing themselves correctly. And very importantly, you have to have a healthy gut. This is essential. So all my patients take Doctor's Biome Gut Health. Dysbiosis, when you have an unhealthy gut, okay, will be a key factor in aging you or de-aging you. You have to have a healthy gut. You have to absorb, as I said earlier, all these nutrients correctly. If you're not absorbing them correctly, you're going to have a problem. Okay. So gut health, and it's called the gut health axis, is essential to slowing down or reversing the aging process because the gut connects with every organ in your body. Okay, so if I gave you a list of 50 supplements that you could take that would slow the aging process down, if they went in one hole, your mouth, and out the other, what good are they? All right, so you have to have a healthy gut. People with healthy guts live longer. That is the key thing here. Ozone therapy destroys all bacteria in the gut, as does antibiotics almost instantly. So you have to put probiotics back in to create a healthy gut again if you're going to do ozone therapy. And that's where Doctor's Biome became so important. Okay, it became so important because dysbiosis leads to stem cell aging. There are papers that prove and show this. So you want to make lots of stem cells, and as we age, our stem cells supposedly weaken. We don't make as many. So the way to reverse that is to create a healthy gut again. By killing off bad bacteria, which is what probiotics can do. And remember that Doctor's Biome is made up of next generation probiotics. Okay. Next generation probiotics survive the stomach over 90%. And then the smart probiotics, okay, stick to the wall of the gut, stick to the wall of your gut, and that is where you need them to be, not just aid digestion. Now, there are different bacterias. Some of them are like your index finger. We call them rods. Acidophilus, everybody's heard of acidophilus. You find it in yogurt, kefir, kombucha. Acidophilus, and you find it in Doctor's Biome, but a very special form of it. All patented strains, 15 patented strains. Well, they just aid digestion. They go in one end and out the other. The bifidobacteria can make a big difference. And in the acidophilus types of bacteria, if they're patented strains, they can make a difference too, okay, in terms of not just aiding digestion, but killing off bad boys, getting yeast in your gut in balance again, and making your colon healthy so you can absorb all those wonderful foods and nutrients you're eating. All right. So Professors Eliav and Segal from the Weizmann Institute in Israel did a groundbreaking experiment. You could get their paper online if you do the right kind of searching. And what they found out was that capsules, basically, most probiotics come in capsule form. You can get tablets, you can get the powders. They're all freeze dried. Freeze drying kills these things very rapidly. Now, I'm going to leave you with that thought. And when we come back from our last break, our commercial break, I'm going to finish all this up and then tell you how you can get yourself younger again. We'll be right back.
All right, nicely done. Another good segment. Back into.
Okay, everybody. So here's the thing, as I found out, I can't stop my recording while this is going on because I have a screen share up for some of you who are watching this now on Zoom, through Zoom on the YouTube channel. As soon as my new show, Functional Medicine with Dr. Robbins, I'm not very creative in names, goes on WNEW FM radio this weekend, they may be also doing it not only on radio, but they may do a YouTube channel as well and showing all this live as well. So you'll be able to see all this kind of stuff when we do those shows also. Kind of interesting that we're going to do this. Hopefully in the future, I'll be able to stop everything, so everything will sound smoother and look smoother in terms of the shows when we record them and post them. But right now, I can't do that because I don't know how. I will find out. There must be a way. Okay, there must be a way. And this way, I won't have to keep talking through the commercial breaks here on Voice America, which I don't mind doing. It's just that I don't want to give you more and more information and then have to repeat myself when we come back on. So just to say where we left off here, it was kind of shocking, okay, to the doctors that when they did the this famous experiment in Israel, that basically the capsules didn't even open, or they were partially open. Pretty amazing, because if they don't open up, what good are they? So we're going to talk more about this as soon as we come back from the break, almost any second now. But as soon as we come back, I want to just go into this a little more quickly, and then we're going to go very quickly and finish everything up because we never have enough time on these shows.
All right, Dr. Robbins, we are coming back.
Okay. Hang with me. We'll be right back.
You are tuned in to Functional Medicine with Dr. Robbins. If you have a question or a comment about the show, please send an email to ozonedoctor@yahoo.com. Now, back to Functional Medicine with Dr. Robbins.
So everybody, this experiment happened, and what they did was they did what was called an endoscopy. They stick a tube down your throat and they look in your stomach and they can see what's going on in your stomach. And they watch the capsules either not open or partially open and empty from the stomach. Well, if you don't get the probiotics out of the capsules, what good are they? Well, powders and tablets might break down. Obviously, they're better. But what happens is they found is that almost all the bacteria there in a freeze-dried state were destroyed by the freeze-drying process and didn't come back to life. We're actually getting a paper published on this. I'm getting a paper published on this right now from Doctors Bio. Then they followed it through the gut, and then they did a colonoscopy, and they saw what was going on in the gut, where the bacteria weren't sticking to the wall, and that these capsules and powders maybe made it through, but were doing no good at all because they didn't come back to life to populate the wall of the gut. In addition, when they examined the feces, they found out even when they did open up and delete and everything came out, the feces had virtually as much bacteria as went in came out. So bottom of it all, whether they refrigerate what you buy or don't, it doesn't really matter. Freeze drying is going to kill them, and it may and likely not allow them to come out of suspended animation. Now, when they do come out, they need what's called prebiotics. Prebiotics are the food that probiotics eat to grow in number and stay alive. So you have to feed the bacteria. Doctor's Biome has fiber in it, and the fiber is what the bacteria prefer to eat. Yes, they'll eat dairy, and some probiotics have dairy in them, but many of my patients can't do dairy. They're dairy sensitive. Some of them have sugar in it. My diabetics can't do sugar. Certainly no added sugars. You don't want any added sugars in anything you do to retard the sugar can cause a lot of problems in the body, and you want to keep to slow the aging process down and de-age, you have to keep your sugar levels ideal all the time. Spiking it with refined sugar is going to age you fast. Sorry, everybody, but that's the truth. You're going to eat refined sugar. It's okay. It's going to age you. Okay. Now, so naturally occurring sugars that are in foods don't do that because they don't spike sugar. They don't spike your insulin, I should say. And that causes aging, spiking insulin in your blood. The flight or fright hormone, flight or fight hormone. Probiotics basically have to confer a health benefit on you. So you need lactobacilli like acidophilus and bifidobacterium to do that. You can't just do it with one or the other. You need a combination. And when you combine the prebiotic and the probiotic together, like Doctor's Biome has done, and having them live to begin with, they're already alive in a 100% organic juice, has German certification for that, 100% biologique, because the USDA and the FDA says it could be 95% and call it 100% organic, not in Germany. And this has the juice that Doctor's Biome uses has both certifications, and it's 100% organic, but it has that fiber that you need in it. And all the organisms are living from day one. They're growing in number every single day, okay? And with a 3-month non-refrigerated shelf life, which is amazing. Now, as these bacteria die off, they leave what's called postbiotics, which give you a whole bunch of nutrients such as the B vitamins and vitamin K and amino acids and antimicrobial peptides and all sorts of benefits, short-chain fatty acids. All these things retard the aging process. So you need next generation and smart bacteria to make this happen. That is the key thing. So symbiotics, that's spelled S-Y-N as in Nancy, not S-Y-M, are effective way in supporting your gut health, preventing dysbiosis, which is an unhealthy gut, and slow the aging process down. Now they came up with a bright idea. Well, let's use spores. Unfortunately, spores are like seeds of bacteria, and they have to come back to life. And now they're also dehydrated technically, and you have to bring them back to life, but there's not enough transit time in your gut to really help have enough of them come back to life and grow into healthy adults, hopefully with the right food to nourish them to grow into healthy adults, and that doesn't always happen. And that's why that was a bright idea that, in my opinion, doesn't work. Everybody's entitled to an opinion, and I can back it up with clinical evidence. At least my opinion can be backed up. So what we want is called a complementary symbiotic. That means it has the prebiotic, the probiotics, and they actually work together. They don't overwhelm each other like Saccharomyces boulardii. People say, is that in it? No. Why? It overwhelms all the other boys. And by overwhelming all the other bacteria, okay, by overwhelming the other bacteria, you can have problems because they cause, well, Saccharomyces cause bloating, stops the, you're supposed to have over 300 plus various strains of bacteria in your gut. Okay, to get it back to work again and have these other bacteria replenish themselves, you have to kill the bad boys off and get yeast in balance. And that's what Doctor's Biome's probiotics are doing. And you've got to avoid probiotics that are in liquid form that may have alcohol, like kombucha. My patients can't do alcohol. Kombucha is a fermented product. In fermentation, you get alcohol. You don't want to have, I said, sugar. The container that it's in becomes important. Doctor's Biome the medical food version of it is in glass, but I made them put it in PET plastic, PETE plastic. If you look at the bottom of a PET plastic container of any kind, any plastic container has a triangle. You want to make sure the triangle has the number 1 in it. That means it's PETE plastic, PET plastic. This has been proven over the last 40 years not to leach anything out of it into anything that's in it. That's why you see more and more stores like that sell organic foods and things like that. All these plastic packaging, look at the bottom, you'll see that triangle 1. If I don't see the triangle 1, I do not buy it. We're putting plastics into our body all the time. You've heard about it, you know about it. If you don't, you better learn about it. We're putting plastics into our body all the time. And this is not healthy. Why? It ages us. That's what this show is about. So if you want to slow the aging process down, okay, if you want to slow the aging process down, you have to start stopping that from happening. Ozone can destroy plastic. That's why I believe it's helping, because if we know that ozone reacts with plastic and can damage it, I'm hoping that these micro pieces of plastic that are nanoplastics that are in our body are being destroyed by ozone so our body can eliminate it. And you need to have healthy elimination of everything. And how do you get that? Well hydrated, okay, have everything work right. So in summary, intravenous ozone therapy, symbiotics like Doctor's Biome. And by the way, you can do rectal insufflation at home. Go to promolife.com, look up their machines. You want to get an elite model. That's the name of the device. It's not very expensive. Many people can afford it. And when you call them at 888-742-3404, you tell them you heard about it here on the show and you want to get set up for home care ozone. So listen to our own home care ozone show and that we've done, and it'll explain how to do rectal insufflation, which is an ozone enema, which puts ozone into your body. Okay. Now, Doctor's Biome, you go to doctorsbiome.com. DOCTORSBIOME.com. And there you can remember to use the code radio20 to get 20% off your first order. And after that, go on auto ship to continue to get 10% off your order. Not a cheap product, but after this show, you should understand why it's worth not just every penny you pay, but more because of the value of what it's going to do for you. Okay. If you want to reach me, you can call me in my Manhattan office. Call my Manhattan office. They'll tell you how to get to me. We can speak at 212-581-0101. That's 212-581-0101. You can email me at ozonedoctor, OZONEDOCTOR, all spelled out, at yahoo.com, YAHOO, at yahoo.com. I do online counseling for people and whatnot from all over the world. So ozonedoctor at yahoo.com and 212-581-0101. And by the way, if you have a question, about a show, you can email me the question. If I can answer it quickly, I will, but always include your cell number because I can call you anywhere in the world you are and we can speak. I prefer speaking than answering emails, which I have a quick question. Then I tell my patients, yeah, but I only have long answers. Okay. In addition, you may have a guest or a suggestion for a show. Email me. And particularly if you know the person, the healthcare practitioner that would like to be on the show, make sure they contact me and we can set them up for being on the show. I'm always looking for quality people. And what I found is most doctors are afraid to do radio or television for that matter. It's weird, very strange. Everybody, thank you all for being here. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay well, and come back next week for another version of Functional Medicine with Dr. Robbins. Bye now.